In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories. Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet that's going to do a review of Survivor Series that was like 3 nights ago because, you know, I am your host, Detective Marks. You can hear JLB chiming in back there. He is joining us. We're also being joined by DA Vincent Kayfabe. I'm just gonna bring all of you guys up here. What's going on, guys? How are you?
Hey, it's Warhorse's substitute, and you better listen to the Raw and Order podcast right now.
Oh my god.
You've
heard that for so long.
Rule Warhorse your ass. Your ass.
Yeah. Exactly. If you notice, it's a slightly different look around here. We're using a different provider, at least
Marks thinks
temporarily.
he's bigger than everybody else, but we'll show in our wrestling match that I'm bigger.
I can't argue with the you being bigger part. You tower over me by almost a foot. You know, it's like there's nothing I can say there. Anyways. And, you know, if we had any partners in common, they would probably say you're bigger than me too there. So
Whoa, but we're not going there. JLB, am I bigger than him?
We're partners. By a long shot.
This just in. JLB says, LFG.
Let's effing go, ladies and gentlemen. Whew.
So we're gonna do the review of Survivor Series here because that's what we do. We're just a couple days late because you know what, I'm getting fucking tired of wrestling companies putting pay-per-views right around major holidays that families do a lot of family shit for. I watched most of Survivor Series. In on a tablet in the basement of one of my cousin's houses because because it's what I had to travel. 500 bits. Boom.
Thanks, Mr. Destructor. No. Big JC. Sorry.
Big JC.
That is cool that we actually see that on the socials now too. Yeah, that's pretty cool. At least
he did the cheers. It doesn't show the cheers properly though.
No, it says Mr. Destructoid 100. Oh, there's one that's different. Cheer 100.
Yay!
Nice pom-poms.
But so I had to watch it in the basement of a cousin's house late because, you know, I'm there doing wrestling or doing family stuff, and so I'm like, fine, watch it on a little tablet, and it's late and I'm tired, and then I had to drive 5 fucking hours back on Sunday, and so I was not like
I would drive 5 fucking hours and I would sorry.
I was just
not
to
go
ready
back
to
home and not do a podcast that night because da.
Yeah, I was fucking tired.
Yeah,
now,
sure.
I know DA Fabe was also fucking tired for similar reasons. The vacation that he had previously mentioned he was taking.
Yep. He was tired of being happy at the happiest place in the world. No. Okay. Sounded better in my head.
Well, yeah. From what I've heard, they're expected to shut down Epcot, potentially to totally gut it and renovate it in the not too distant future. I don't know for certain, but
Way to just destroy dreams, huh? Is Fabe here, or did we lose Fabe?
He's here. Can you hear him? Can you not hear him? I can hear him.
Oh boy, I cannot hear him. I don't know if you're just fucking with me.
Nope, I can hear him.
Okay.
Here. No, you shouldn't have to be up.
Maybe
Because
I
like I
have to
said,
have that small screen to be on.
Yeah.
So if there's the dead screen, if
There
you
you
take that
go.
dead screen off, you can still hear me, right?
well, but no,
You
here,
know what
because here, keep talking.
I mean? Okay.
Keep talking as I switch
Talking.
here to the other scene. Keep
Ah!
talking. Did he disappear when I switched screens?
Yeah. So I only
That
hear
is
you now.
so weird. Okay. Lessons learned here. Well, it looks like we'll just keep it up like this so that. Because now you should be able to hear him again.
Ah!
That is so weird. A learning curve on things.
Yep.
Learning
Which means
curve.
I probably need to introduce a background of some type to put up when my screen's off.
Well, we just need to give you an avatar so that your avatar can do. Hey, I'm gonna check this push to talk.
Speaking of
see if it works
Avatar,
different.
that ride is also fucking incredible.
Hey, let me just try something here really quickly here. Now that we're live on air and fuckers can listen to us beta test shit.
Yes, they can.
Testing. 1,
I
2,
can hear
3.
you.
Testing 1, 2,
I can
3.
hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you. I can
I'm
hear you.
I'm assuming
I
live
can
can hear
hear
me
you.
too. I don't know what the
Can
fuck
JLB
that
hear
push
you?
stuck. Yeah, he said he could hear me,
Oh, but I couldn't hear him.
but I don't think he could hear you.
I can hear him
You hear
now.
me?
But
you
you
couldn't
couldn't
hear me
while
when
I
he was doing it, though? So we can't hear each other. We can just hear you. Both of us can.
Fucking weird. So okay, so here, if I do, let's try it this way.
No, not the right thing. You
No,
don't
so
want me to do
it's
that one?
weird. Like I don't have a push to talk by my name. I just have one next to certain names, right? Which should imply that I'm trying to push to talk to that person. But like, if I push to talk
Really,
right
it's
now,
just I don't want them to hear what I
yeah.
say.
But that's if I push to talk to JLB right now, can
Detective
hear me?
Smarks Pitt is speaking. Yeah, so I can hear you.
You can hear me?
And I can
And
hear
I
him,
can hear
but I
you.
can't hear
He can hear
JLB.
me?
Or no, I can hear JLB.
I don't know. It's
I guess he
it's
can't hear you. I don't know. He didn't say
fucking
anything.
stupid is what it is. Maybe I have to mute this first. Maybe I.
And then you push to talk, and then we can hear you, but we can't hear you at all.
Well, because he muted
Oh
himself. and
yeah,
no,
there
I
it
can't hear you.
is. I can hear you, and JLB can't hear you right now.
No,
Okay, can he hear me?
I can hear you.
So if I had mine muted, and we did that,
Jeez.
so if we both muted,
I
Then
can
we can
still
do
hear
that.
you.
well, that's because I'm on.
Oh,
I can
okay.
hear. I can hear Smarks. JLB can hear me,
I can hear you. I can't hear
but
Smarks.
I can't hear JLB. So it makes it so the only thing I can hear is you. Okay.
Yeah, we just all got to be moderators or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Poor-
Right.
poor
So I can hear you.
I love
Come back out of mute
parade.
so everyone can hear me. Okay, I'm figuring some shit out. This is a weird, different thing. But what's really cool is you guys can't see it from your side, but I've got a whole producer mode here where I can switch scenes, queue up a scene, and then press the transition, and then queue up a different scene and press the transition, and then queue up a different scene and press the transition. So
I
this
am
is
on
like
stage now. Bloody dog.
this is all, okay. So I'm gonna have to set it up now I'm gonna have to go in and edit some of these scenes to not mute
I'm
when you're not on screen.
alive. I'm
Anyways,
alive.
we're gonna fuck us.
Talk about Survivor Series.
Fuck us to Survivor Series. If you are new to this podcast, you might not know.
We are so sorry.
We yeah
This is
we're
not
first
the
one.
episode to start with.
This is
this
this
is-
is not what we usually do. We usually are more professional.
we're
are
usually
we?
pretty rogue still.
Are
Like,
we
yeah.
more professional? I'm
we?
I'm
Rogue,
not
rogue
sure
is our
that's something
thing.
we can say. But we're
I
usually
mean,
a
that's
little
for
more,
the new people to at least come back.
we're usually a little more focused, at least at the start of the night, and so.
Yeah,
But
for
anyway,
5 minutes.
yeah. But we don't do reviews the same way that that other podcasts do, where you go to, okay, here's this match, here's what happened, here's whatever happened here. What did you guys think? Okay, now we move on to the next match. Nah, fuck that. We get to the meat and bones. We talk about what's bad, and then
Whoa,
we
you wanna
talk
talk
about
our
what's
bones?
good. Yeah, well, I mean, I could talk about my bone all day.
Heyo!
I have to go into minute detail.
This millimeter's this. Then this millimeter's this, and then you're done.
Yeah. It curves ever so slightly to the left. You need this magnifying glass to notice.
Of course,
Anyway.
he's talking about his coccyx bones.
Yes. My coccyx. Anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and start off. Like I said, we start off with the bad stuff first. This is gonna be an interesting one because there were only 5 matches on the
Five
night.
matches?
Now 2 of them were War
hour
Games
long.
matches.
War
like 40 minutes long. So it wasn't a short pay-per-view as a whole. I mean, it was shorter than like the marathons that AEW pay-per-views can be, right? But it wasn't. It wasn't.
I think
as
it'll be
short as
interesting
some
when we get
WWE
to
ones.
match of the night, because I do think we'll have some different opinions as to why
Mm-hmm.
and to what. I actually have 2 War Games matches are my top matches, but I have one over the other because of the match itself, and I have the other over because of the storytelling. So it's very
Yeah.
interesting.
So yeah, we're gonna get in. We're gonna start off though with the worst. So worst match of the night.
Ronda Rousey and Shotzi Blackheart. I think it's unanimous.
I think I'm there with it. I think that's unanimous. I should run down the matches just to make sure everyone, if you didn't watch it, you're prepared. So it started off with the women's War Games match, which was Team Belair, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Minchin Yim, and Becky Lynch versus Team Bayley, which is Damage Controlled, consisting of Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley. You then had AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. You had Ronda Rousey defending against Shotzi Blackheart, or as she's now called, just Shotzi, which I think is dumb. Blackheart is such a cool thing. Anyways,
Last name.
You then had Seth
Last name.
Rollins defending against Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley in a triple threat, and then you finished off with another War Games match, the Bloodline, which was Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, the Usos, and Sami Zayn, with Paul Heyman in their corner, versus the Brawling Brutes, which is Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens. So we all agree Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler, worst match of the night. Fortunately, shortest match of the night, so that's good.
Could that be why?
No, I think it was
don't think
mercifully
so.
short. I think it was mercifully short because they just didn't have chemistry. And the sad thing is, this was supposed to be like Shotzi's chance to show the main roster what she could do, sort of a thing. I don't think Ronda Rousey was the right opponent for Shotzi to do that. There's a
I
move.
think
that
Shayna would have been a good one for that. Shayna can
Shay-
sell people.
Shayna can sell. Shayna also. I've said this with Ronda Rousey since she first debuted, and I'll continue to say she's impressed me a bit recently, but this was not impressive here. The problem is Shayna Baszler, not Shayna, Ronda Rousey still approaches wrestling matches like MMA fights. And that means that selling of taking moves and selling of performing the moves is not broad enough, right? There was one one move, and I'm sure I'll talk about it in worst move later. She put Shotzi up on the top rope, and she did a top rope Jujikatami, which is a judo move. It's the over the shoulder arm throw, right? That she does all the time. The problem is when a trained wrestler does it, they do this whole like big move of pulling the arm over and the person goes flying. And when she does it, it happens so quick and concise and fast that you can't really make out what she's doing because she's still doing it like an MMA move, not like a wrestling move. And Shotzi was not prepared to sell it properly because it happened so fast. And that's kind of the same thing Ronda does with almost all of her moves. There needs to be some theatricality in things before, like just when she's locking in the armbar at the end, right?
Armbar. Sorry.
Yeah, which I gotta be honest, I still hate calling it an arm bar because there's nothing bar about it. It's really a vertical Kimura lock, effectively. You know what I mean? But I get it. But like when you watch
Cross arm
seasoned,
breaker.
yeah. But that's she doesn't cross arm break because she bends it.
That's true.
Right, and so then it's not an arm bar, right? It's not a cross, but then when you watch someone a trained wrestler do a cross arm bar, any of that stuff, there's this whole like big motion where they get in and then they pull the arm up and they show that they're about to do it and then they pull it back, right?
Right. It's all about the theatrics of it.
The theatrics, and with her, she just grabs it, puts it in there, and locks it in. And especially with that move, because it's so compact, because she's not straightening the arm, it's just bent like this, and I'm sure it fucking hurts. I'm not arguing that it's not a good move. I'm just saying because there's no theatrics to it, she's got it locked in so quickly that there's no tension built with it, right?
Right.
And wrestling matches are all about building tension, building up suspense, whether they're going to actually make it, whether they're going to do it, who's going to win, everything. This just kind of doesn't work for me. So, Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi, unfortunately, worst match of the night. The fortunate thing is, I will say that this was probably one of WWE's better pay-per-views of the year, if you ask me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is full on trips at this juncture.
Yeah,
I don't think we have much influence of Vince anymore.
I mean, everything essentially told its own little story with it. You know, between the women's war game, Becky being back, to the men's war game with the whole Jay and Sammy thing, which I shed a tear when they hugged because that was great. To even,
That's not gonna last long.
no, that's it. To even Austin Theory, to getting the win with how he got the win. I thought that was a fantastic way to end it because I truly didn't know who you were going to give it to. Like, because none of them really need it, but I guess based on how they did it, Austin Theory winning the way he did makes kind of sense for him to take the U.S. Championship and essentially do something with his new gimmick with it. Because Lashley doesn't need it, and Seth sure as hell doesn't need it. So,
well, and I think that's the big thing on that match, and we'll get to that eventually. But is at the end of the day, you had two world champion level contenders and one probably U.S. title contender.
So, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We all agree on worst match of the night. Let's talk about most predictable moment. All the things that happened on this, what was the most predictable?
As an individual, obviously we all knew Ronda was winning. I mean, I don't think anybody questioned that. I would say the most predictable moment realistically for me was was Io Sky, sorry,
Doing the moonsault.
performing performing some type of high level shot. Really, I thought Becky's leg drop to Io Sky in the trash can was the most predictable. That's what I thought was the most predictable.
Okay.
I thought Io Sky being inside of a trash can and doing some type of bump has happened before, and
It's happened.
as soon as
Yeah.
I saw a trash can go in, I was like, "That's happening." Now it wasn't from the top, so I'll give it that, but it still was something. There was a lot of climbing to the top that just, for the life of me, did not make me understand why you don't climb up and push that person off, so they're fighting to get back on, so they don't fall
I
off.
I would say for me most predictable moment it was a series of moments. It was that in every War Games match there's at one person who instead of coming in spends most of their 3 minutes
Getting
pulling
Getting
up
weapons.
weapons.
pulling up shit from underneath the ring and throwing them in. And then there is
Right.
always during that moment there at least one moment where someone walks over and sticks their head out like they're gonna talk to the guy out there, and the guy slams the gate on their head. And sure enough, it happened in this one. Both of those happened, and I'm just like, wouldn't you think like, hey, I'm not gonna stick my head out. I'm just gonna take all the shit that he throws in and just be prepared to just whack him with it as soon as he comes
Yeah,
in.
I'm
You know
gonna
what I mean?
throw it at them once they come in.
Yeah. Then he throws a chair in. I'm just gonna wait until he sticks his head in and just smack it with a chair.
The one in particular that fits best with is Mia Yim. She was throwing it in when the only people that were standing were the bad guys. Were oh
Team
my
Bailey.
god, yeah, Team Bailey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I for some reason I was on Team Rhea, and I was like, no, Rhea's not the person on this. It's Bailey's team. I also didn't like so the other two players on Team Bailey in that particular match are supposed to be loose cannon in some way, shape, or form, and they played way too well as a team there. In particular, Nikki Cross.
Yeah, Nikki
There
Cross
needed to be somebody who came to her and was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, come back to reality, come back to reality." As she was beating the shit out of some, just getting an extra kick in on Dakota Kai,
Yeah.
who didn't play into it that much. I mean, other than
Well, I
taking-
mean, the whole Alexa Bliss thing with the handcuffs, again, that was kind of very predictable too. And I'm like, oh, Alexa Bliss is going to get the handcuff off and then put it on her. And sure enough, guess what? That happened. But that, I guess, would have been a Nikki Cross crazy moment. But at the same time, still very predictable.
Well,
She needed to
it
be
is.
more crazy, for
A
sure.
Nikki Cross crazy moment needed to be her not actually being on a team. You know what I mean? She's out there and she's on Team Bailey, but is she really? Like, she's just out there to cause havoc, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
So
so,
she not, but have somebody be able to rein her in some way, shape, or form. But once, and there were so many times where Team Bailey was so far ahead, like all of the members of Team Bailey are standing, and all of the members of Team Bianca are down, and Nikki just stands there and waits and politely works along with her team. No, fucking lose your shit and be like, I want to cause chaos.
yeah. Or like they really could have had just a moment where like Nikki is like, I'm bored, and she just climbs up and climbs out of the ring and just starts to leave. You know what I mean?
No, 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 come back, come back.
No, come back, come back, come back. And she's like, what? And they're like, I'm bored. Like, oh, you could use this trash can. Okay. Or something. But
Yeah, a
she's just,
sequence
like,
where everybody else grabs a weapon and she didn't have one. And she's just like, all right. And she starts to leave. No! You can't leave.
something. I will say that I think this match did kind of also show that I don't think Alexa's 100% in on her current character run. I think she looked kind of bored and out of it through most of this too.
I think she wants to do Fiend, but I think the fans genuinely, much like you, Smarks, I think the fans genuinely want the goddess back.
Yeah, I think she might want to do Goddess, but the problem is
They're crossing both
they
worlds. They're
they've
trying to
shoehorned her
weave.
into this face gimmick. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
like, no, you have to come out and be smiley and be a face, and you know, she's so good at being a bitch. And that's not trying to be degrading to her in any way, shape, or form.
No, you're right.
She's just so good at playing that role. You know, that an honorable mention for most predictable moment. This happens in almost every War Games match there ever is. That moment after the final person from the final team comes in, and then there's the standoff in the ring where
Right,
both teams
yeah.
face off. One's in one ring, one's in the other, and they
But
stand
again,
in a
that's theatrics.
perfect little line and look at each other. Just once, I want the team that gets the final person to come in to a ring that's basically cleared. There's like one person and everyone else is down, and they come in. They've got 5 people, all healthy, and there's one person. Like in the men's match, it would have been perfect for Sami Zayn to just be kind of in the middle and surrounded by Sheamus and Ridge Holland and Butch and Drew McIntyre, and then Kevin Owens, you know, there, and him just be like, hey guys, what? And then you can build some more of the theatrics of is Sami Zayn going to turn and join Kevin Owens? Because I think we'll talk about some of that in the best moments part
Sure.
of the night, but
Yeah.
the Sami Zayn thing as a whole was really good. But that's my honorable mention. But I think there were a lot of like predictable things. Not that it was bad predictable, just
They
there.
were predictable. Yeah.
So, moving on to botch of the night. Was there a move that just went wrong?
Yes. So Io Sky was doing a Hurricane Rana to Bianca Belair, hit her head. Later on, Bianca Belair was doing a power bomb to, was it Nikki? Nikki or Dakota, one of the two smaller ones, and did the power bomb. It might have been Bailey, but dropped her basically right on her fucking head.
Oh.
And so Bianca has both of those fails.
There was also at one time where I thought Bianca was actually hurt because the referee kept going to her, and she was down for quite a bit, but then she just randomly got up, and I was like, oh, okay. But
Those were the two
Yeah.
where I physically saw, and on the Io one, I heard the heads make contact without anything else there to protect, and they were just poorly done moves.
Okay.
I thought Finn did a great job of selling his leg injury. I mean,
You know, I mentioned the Juji Katami from Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, when we did the full gear, I talked about how I have a more strict definition of botch, and I don't know if this even qualifies as botch, but it still wasn't a good move. So, at the very least, that one belongs in worst move nominee
Yeah.
for me. But it didn't sell right. That whole match might have been botch of the night. And again, it's not that it was a bad match. I think it was just a poorly planned match. Also, finding out that it was produced by a Holocaust denier, the Brian Kendrick, you know, made a lot of things make a little bit more sense now.
right, yeah. I'm gonna go in the stroke of that being the worst match. I'm gonna go with that whole spot with the crowd, although we know it wasn't a legit crowd. Where Shotzi, I believe it was Shotzi who threw Ronda into the crowd, and it hit like a group of like 5 people.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily a
5.
botch. It was just like
5 very obvious plants.
yeah, like because then there was no one else near them. They were
Yeah.
on like the
They-
open
they were-
area. Of the
They were,
thing.
yeah, they were
I'm
basically
like,
in an aisle, right? You know,
Right.
and there's just like 5 chairs set up in this aisle. Just happened to be where through, and no other fans, and they all looked remarkably in good shape. Let's be honest, wrestling fans as a whole, not typically in the best of shapes. I mean, round is a shape,
Yeah, I was gonna get there. That's a shape, bud.
but it's not the best shape. Like, and these all they looked like people straight out of the performance center who were like said, "Hey, go sit out there and pretend you're fans so that Ronda can be thrown into you or whatever."
Yeah.
But I I will say in terms of like everything, I don't think there was really like many what I would call true botches. But there were
Right.
some less than great moves. Apparently, the news that came out today, the reports from backstage says that Roman was absolutely pissed at Kevin Owens because he felt like Kevin Owens went off script and went into business for himself. And he apparently went backstage and was yelling and cussing and all that stuff. And I would say anytime a wrestler goes off script, that might qualify as botch of the night because
Where did he go off script?
I don't specifically know the exact moment. I just know
Okay,
that
they
the
didn't
reports
actually say it. Okay, they
they
didn't actually say it or
yeah.
anything.
From what I
They just said he
read,
did.
from what I saw, that yeah, the report just simply said that Kevin Owens went off script, went into business for himself. The reports were, and hit harder than he was supposed to Roman Reigns, and that pissed Roman Reigns off.
Oh, okay.
And you know, I I'm going to just casually mention that 2 months ago, the internet was just abuzz with Sammy Guevara is complaining that they hit hard and he just needs to grow up. But if Roman Reigns complains that Kevin Owens was hitting too hard, then
Oh
then
my
it's
god, you and your fucking bias. They're both bitches.
Yeah, I mean, it depends if we get more detail on what it is or whatever. Or honestly, this could just be a work within itself, just because we also heard the rumor that it's going to potentially be Owens versus Roman at Royal Rumble or Sammy versus Roman at Royal Rumble. So, and Sammy and Roman, Sammy
Damn it.
and Salmon, Sammy and
I have this
KO.
vision of Roman
but
just
here's
biting a salmon out of the air. Like a bear.
I'm gonna Photoshop that. You guys
report
have seen
post
Sami Zayn, but have you seen Salmon Zayn?
Salmon Zane. I'll have to figure that one out.
Salmon Zayn.
Report posted today by Fightful Select detailed the state of Roman Reigns after Survivor Series went off the air. Report said that Roman was visibly upset backstage after his match, specifically about a spot that happened during the main event. Roman Reigns reportedly took issue with what he saw as an unplanned spot between him and Kevin Owens. Reigns expressed that he believed he might have suffered a ruptured eardrum as a result of the spot not going as originally planned. His exclamation was said to have been expletive-filled. Those that spoke with Fightful don't believe that the issue will lead to any long-term conflict, but rather that Roman's anger was a heat-of-the-moment reaction. Reigns did not speak to Owens after the event, and there were no reports of any altercations between the two. However, Roman was planned to appear at the press conference afterwards, but did not, likely as a result of this.
And that's why Sammy and Paul Heyman was there.
That's
Okay.
why Sammy and Paul Heyman was here. And I want to talk a little bit about that. I didn't watch all of the press conference because
Oh, it wasn't that long.
it
You
wasn't
were
that
already
long.
tired and watching it on a tablet.
I was
on
already
top.
tired, but I like tried to tune it in later, the next day. Like
Oh, okay.
I'll watch a little bit of it. But here's the deal: it was the most WWE shit I've ever seen. Like AEW when they do their media
AEW
scrum.
gets attention from their media scrum. We should try that.
Yeah, AEW does the media scrums, and they walk this really delicate line of kayfabe and shoot. Um, they the reporters will legitimately ask, "Did you think about changing the ending to that match?" And they'll answer, "No, I didn't think about changing the ending to the match because this was going good, or this is the plan that we always had." But then a little 12-year-old kid steps up and says, "Do you think you could beat the Undertaker if he came?" And they say, "Yeah, totally kayfabe. Oh, I believe I could beat the Undertaker. He'd be a dead man walking, or whatever, right?" WWE does a press conference, and it is very obviously entirely kayfabe scripted, right?
Not true. I think Sami Zayn was pure himself. Meanwhile, Paul Heyman was pure
Nope,
kayfabe.
that's the one I watched, and you could tell that Sami Zayn was sticking to a script. Now, it wasn't like a detailed script, but they were like, "Here's the bullet points. You have to talk about how you showed that you were loyal to the bloodline,
Right.
and all of this stuff. You did all this stuff." And like I said, I watched about half of his thing there, and I was like, this is just him hitting all the bullet points that he has to. And then like they would cut to the person asking the question, and you could 100% tell that question was fed to them. This is the question to ask. You ask this question, and then they answered it, and it was all scripted out, right? And by scripted, I mean pre-planned, right? They didn't necessarily write exactly word for word down what especially if it wasn't supposed to be Sammy, it was supposed to be Roman. Sammy was ad-libbing the whole thing, but he was still 100% in kayfabe that time with his talking. And then, of course, Paul Heyman is 100% kayfabe. You know what I mean?
Oh, Paul was
Paul-
definitely, yeah. He
all
didn't
of
even-
that, yeah.
That's what he does. But that's why I say it was like, you spend all this time talking about how AEW is not the competition, AEW is not in our league, we don't care what AEW does, and then they have a pay-per-view that has a very, very publicized media scrum afterwards, and you realize they do that after every pay-per-view, and they're like, well, maybe we should do one after our pay-per-views, right? Well, let's do it. And I don't know, it just like it was way too slick. It didn't come off like a media scrum. It came off like a press conference. You know what I mean? Which is different. Anyways, and so like I watched most of Sami Zayn's, and I was like, this is just a segment from Raw. Is all it was. It was just
You
a
honestly
pre-planned
sound
backstage
like-
segment from Raw.
You honestly sound like a pro AEW fanboy right now, though.
I
Wasn't
am. I 100% admit that I like AEW, right? I'm an AEW mark. But I'm telling you, I had a friend at work watch the media scrum today, and he had the same come away. He said this was entirely planned by WWE to go this way, or at least a similar
Right.
way to this. This was, none of those questions were authentic. The reporters asking them were entirely scripted on what to ask. There was no unplanned questions that came out. It was, and to me, the only reason I watched the media scrums afterwards is because I like that mixing of kayfabe and not. It's the reason I watch Being the Elite, right? It's not that I like the Jacksons. In fact, Da Fabe can attest. I really don't like the Young Bucks, really. But
He's a mark. He loves them.
but
Don't listen to him.
but Being the Elite is all about like walking this line. Today's Being the Elite, right? They recorded a segment before they came out at last week's Dynamite, right? We'll get back to Survivor Series in just a second, but last week on Dynamite they were in Chicago, right? And so before they came out they recorded a segment for Being the Elite that they did where they just looked at the camera and said, should we cheat tonight? Tell you what, we'll let the crowd decide. If they're rude to us, we'll cheat. You're fucking in Chicago, and you just had a very famous blow up with Chicago's favorite wrestling son. Of course you knew the crowd was going to be rude to you and cheat, And so it was all this, like, let's break kayfabe and pretend like, we're going to be surprised that they're rude to us out there. And then they went out there and they mocked CM Punk in a couple ways. Kenny Omega tried to eat someone, biting on their arm. He performed the GTS, and then afterwards thanked Kenta for allowing him to use
Right.
his move, which is another troll to CM Punk. And so, being the Elite walks that line of kayfabe and then reality really well. That's the main reason I watch it. I actually preferred Ethan Page's vlog, but he stopped doing it. And I'm a sad panda.
Sad panda.
Anyways,
Anyway.
we'll move on to overhype of the night.
Overhype of the night.
Is this the Ronda Rousey one again? I mean, it wasn't super hyped up, but it still was the Women's SmackDown Championship.
Yeah, because at the same time, all the other ones were pretty hyped up perfectly
Heavily
as
hyped.
they were.
This one wasn't heavily hyped.
That's the one reason it might not be overhyped, because it wasn't hyped enough. It wasn't hyped hardly at all. I mean, it only came together in the last 2 weeks. But all the other ones kind of delivered on the hype.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we'll have discussions over match of the night. But I don't think any of us will argue that one of them didn't live up to their hype,
I'm gonna go with the men's war games. It got the most media coverage. It got the most coverage for a long, long time. I think it was on par with three of the other 4 matches in terms of quality. And for that reason, I'm going to call it the overhype, because it got more coverage than those other 3 at the same level of quality. Not a bad match, just the overhype.
That's a fair point, though. Heck, even the Jey Uso, Kevin Owens match was even more fire than the men's. The Jey Uso Kevin Owens match tonight on Raw was more fire than the men's War Game match. So I think that's a solid point. Although the Sammy Jey Uso hug still allowed me to shed a tear.
Look at this. I can make DA Fabe bigger. Sorry.
Ooh.
ADD.
Our poor customers. Or listeners. Whatever.
It's tough because,
You just called
Ronda
customers?
Rousey. Customers. Ronda Rousey one is the only one that didn't, in my mind, live up. But it's still, like we said, it wasn't. It wasn't that hyped, so it's tough to say it was an overhype,
Right. But again, like you mentioned, still a women's match.
Well, I don't think he ever said it that way.
Yeah. I never said.
Women's championship match.
Look, and now JLB can be huge, so we can see the side of his face.
The misogynist that he is. That's coming from me. That's a big deal.
That's fucking.
And then back to me. Yeah. Well, anyways,
I'm just trying to give another perspective. That's all.
I like I said, I don't like saying it because it wasn't hyped. It really doesn't fit overhype of the night. But at the same point, is anyone going to argue that the Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory was overhyped?
No.
I don't think so.
No, other than that, it's the longest running storyline of all of those.
Anyone going to argue that the AJ Styles versus Finn Balor match was overhyped?
Absolutely not.
No. The women's War Games match?
No.
No,
Nope.
the men's War Games match. That was the one that JLB kind of pushed towards. I
That
Well,
was me, fuckhead.
was you
that
saying
was
that it was
both of
the
us technically.
both of you,
Yes.
both of you saying that. I don't, I didn't see that as an overhype, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
The only
You
reason
know,
I say that it could be is because it was on par with the other three of the other four matches, and because it was on par, it, it I could see any one of those four being rated people's favorite matches,
Yeah.
and it got the most coverage. That's it. That's the only reason. Without a lot of build, that because it was focused on
hmm
building a different story. It was focused on building the Sami Zayn story, so there wasn't a lot of build on the bloodline attacking Sheamus, attacking Drew, attacking yeah.
but Bleacher Report has it as the second best match of the night. That's why it's tough for me to call it an overhype.
I understand, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just
Well, I
saying
mean that's Bleacher Report though, so
That is
that's their
Bleacher
opinion.
Report, but for
yeah,
me,
they don't give overhype or underhypes.
they don't. We do, but I'm just saying that it's tough because I more or less agree that it was potentially the second, maybe third if I mean the women's War Games match was good too, so it's tough. It'd be really tough to rate these matches best to worst as a whole, but worst performance of the night.
God, was it Shotzi?
No, I honestly think
It's either Shotzi or Mia for me.
Alexa, man,
I'm not far off with Alexa there either.
Yeah, like I
because
said,
at the same time that was
she
the
just looked
best match, and I saw the
dead.
least with Alexa.
But she just looked uninterested. Like
But again, I think that is also an actual work because she also looked uninterested during that promo on Raw. I think this has all
Hell,
to
when
do
they
with
were
the
standing
team.
together as the five of them winning, she looked uninterested to have won.
Yeah. It's all part of a work though. It's her because she's still kind of traumatized by the fiend and whatnot. Like it has to be. It doesn't make sense for her to be this out of it. Aside from storyline.
I'm going to go back. I have an overhype of the night. This
Oh,
Intercontinental title championship tournament having nothing to do with this whole pay per view. You have a pay per view going on.
oh yeah, they
Should have rushed that enough that tournament enough that you could get the finals.
because this wasn't a
you mean
super
the
long
World
thing.
Cup thing?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
because this wasn't like it wasn't super short, but it also wasn't stupid long. They could have had one more match on here.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
So I'm going to say the World Cup. That is the overhype of this night because it wasn't there, and it's been hyped a lot.
okay.
Now, sorry, going back to
Worst performance of the night.
performance.
I don't know whether to give it to Ronda or Shotzi, but that's probably where I'm going.
I
Like I said,
I might go with the people who are at ringside for AJ and
Finn.
Finn Balor, the ringside people. I also would go with Rhea Ripley for not coming out with her team just because she just recently had a match.
Yeah. Possibly. I don't know. Anyways, did we all do a worst performance?
Yeah, I said Alexa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Worst move of the night.
Well,
Tommy.
I was gonna say for you it's the Juju Katami. Yo, do you guys watch wrestling? Yes, we do. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, 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 yes,
Oh
yes, yes,
fuck!
yes, yes, yes,
Oh
yes,
fuck!
yes.
Oh fuck.
And now that viewer just turned off.
We watch wrestling, and we
We
are
do
about
indeed.
No, we did not.
to we yeah, H2O survived
H2O
tonight.
survived tonight.
Nope, we
Water
did not.
survival.
No, I think
Water
there was
survival. I don't think that was the thing.
Okay. Anyway, so worst move, just to I don't know, devil's advocate, I suppose. Handcuffing yourself to your opponent, Alexa Bliss. That didn't accomplish anything from the person you're trying to escape from.
Oh, it's an independent wrestling thing.
hardcore hustle organization, I believe. I had to do some looking because I was pretty sure that I'd read something about it. Mud show indie shit. That's exactly what Necro Eric says. Mud show indie shit. Let's look up this
Danny
Pro
Havoc
Wrestling
Hardcore
Survive.
Championship.
What matches were supposed to be on it?
We
So
got
Danny
Rocket
Havoc
versus
versus Brandon
JK.
Kirk, Chris Bradley, Jimmy Leon, Marcus Mathers. We had Rocket versus Janai Kai. I've actually seen her wrestle, so he's decent. H2O Championship, OK Chilled, Murders, Declan Grant. They need to come up with someone a better,
Better names.
well, better fucking graphic artist, because this font that they used is fucking nightmare to read. I don't know any of those names off of Adonis Valero versus Gigi Everson, Frank Benetti versus Duncan Aleem, Sawyer Rack versus Tara
I
Calloway,
think I've heard of Adonis Ferrero for some reason.
Edward Hawkins versus Matt Tremont. I've heard of him. Reed Walker versus question mark. Ooh. Who could it be?
A question mark.
Yeah.
It
No,
was
didn't,
Kid Osborne.
who could that be? No, here's the deal. I'm joking here, but 100%, if you have the chance, watch the indie stuff, right? We've said it
Yeah, for
before.
sure.
If you could watch it or go to that show, if you were in the area of wherever that was at, and you could go to it, fucking do it, right? Best
Absolutely.
$20 you could ever spend on a ticket.
You'll get some really entertaining stuff.
And you'll
leave
find,
insight.
like I mentioned that I didn't know most of those people. I don't, right? But in fairness,
I didn't know who Heather Reckless was till I went to a live event.
yeah, didn't know who had the Reckless or S.K. Bishop,
Yeah.
or the Pillars of Destiny. Didn't know them. I think they're
Big
hilarious.
Crowley. Big
Yep, Big John Crowley. Yeah,
John Crowley.
Country Air.
Country Air. I have
Yeah.
no clue. SK Bishop is a really good example, though. He is fantastic.
And so, yeah, go to it and give it some support. And I'll keep an eye out, see if they put clips of it up on the YouTubes and everything. Someone's opening some cards.
I believe that was the last of our worst, right?
I think
No.
we've got just Necro says he's a huge fan of independent wrestling.tv. It's a service, got over 20 live events a month. Exposed me to a lot of live weekly stuff that I wouldn't really watch otherwise. Yes, we've talked about independent wrestling TV before, so much that at one point we had to start saying hashtag not sponsored, because it's definitely worth it. It does suck that a couple of the larger indie promotions have pulled out of it. Like Zello Pro is no longer on it anymore. I think they moved exclusively to Fight.
Oh, it doesn't
Stuff
suck
like
for
that.
them. Though.
But what? No, it just sucks because you pay a subscription to independent wrestling TV so you can watch a bunch of stuff, and then these ones that you like he mentioned GCW and Black Label Pro leaving. These are relatively large indies, and then they leave. And now you've got to pay extra to watch them. Half of the fun of independentwrestling.tv was being able to catch all of these different indies, for one price. It was like having WWE Network and also getting, all of these indies. But Anyways, but
And
yes,
if
no,
you were a
100%
regional
watch.
supporter or regional promoter, you might say it's worth 10 grand or 12 grand to rent the facility for you guys.
Yeah,
So, anyway,
and so
these are not Topps finest. These are just Topps 2021 trading cards.
okay. I think I opened some of those at one point.
Was that the worst move? Worst move? Was that the last of the worst?
No, we still got
Okay, let's do one more worst.
one more worst. Worst moment of the night.
Austin Theory being knocked out to win.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, it was really a great play.
Really?
It was a great play,
Yeah.
but nobody was rooting for Austin Theory there.
Yeah,
Wow.
like I kind of said, I I just thought they haven't built him up enough. You know what I mean? They tore him down. They did this 25 match losing streak, right? And then I felt like he needed a little bit more build up, a little bit more. I'm ruthless and I'm going to destroy people before I was ready for him to have this run. But that's just me.
The other one would be Nikki Cross not doing something Nikki Crossish.
That's fair.
I mean, I will also say the Juju
when she
Katami
climbed up
off
on
of
the top of the
rope.
cage was great though. When Nikki Cross climbed on top, I was just like, well, "That's funny."
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, that women's match, there is almost nothing wrong for that women's match aside from maybe Nikki Cross just.
I don't know if the other two got to watch all of Raw tonight, and so I don't know. I thought it was decent. It was decent. It was nice to see Becky back. She got like a really good pop, and all that. You know, there was good stuff in it, but I don't know. It was kind of the Raw after a pay-per-view. It felt like a settling down show, and this. Supposed to have more than just that. It's Stream Element saying, "Thank you for the follow, Necro Eric."
Yeah,
So,
thanks.
yeah,
thanks,
awesome.
bud.
I don't know why Stream Element did it that way. Anyways, we'll probably talk more Raw on Tuesday's show or next Sunday's show when we normally do our kind of
But again,
recap.
that main event, KO versus Jey Uso, probably better than the entire War Games match. So, men's War Games match. And that was fun.
It was a fun match. I don't say it better than the men's War Games, but that's me. We've already talked about that. So now we've got someone opening some packs. So
We've got Kofi Kingston defeating The Miz from 1-3 of 20.
okay,
We've got Bobby Lashley. That's a
Lovely.
cool card. I like that card a lot.
here, give me 1 second here.
You're gonna move me over to the big one?
Move you to the big one. Here you go. Boom.
And then Bobby Lashley again.
Bobby Lashley.
We've got Street Profit save Kevin Owens from humiliation.
Hey.
We've got
I'm super excited if KO is going to be
oh,
headlining
Smarks. Finn Balor. Ooh, we've got no longer with WWE. Sasha Banks.
Well, I mean, she's still with WWE, technically.
Technically, yes. He is correct there.
An NXT card. It's Ray. And Seth Rollins after defeating Dominic Mysterio in a street fight. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, you beat Dominic Mysterio. That's not all that fun.
So Necro Eric mentions that if you get a chance to watch the Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling show that aired after the War Games pay-per-view, There were a couple really badass matches there. Yuka Sakazaki is a name I recognize and definitely enjoy her on AEW. And then Miyu Yamashita is definitely good. So yeah, those are definitely something to check out. I highly recommend it as well. Okay.
Next one, Mustafa Ali, as they call him now on the roster. I don't know why they say Mustafa. Randy Orton talking to Beth about Edge's condition after his match. It's an old one. Sheamus. He looks oddly thin there. It's an angle thing. And this one looks animated, which they all start to look animated here. Edge.
Edge.
The Becky one also looks very animated. But the John Cena does not. John Cena.
Because John Cena is just naturally animated.
And AJ Styles qualifying for the Money in the Bank.
Nice.
Third set out of, there's 70 cards here. Jeez, Pete.
But you don't have to do all of them.
I probably won't. I'll probably just do 5 sets of these cards. Get halfway through. King Corbin assaults Elias. He looks way more jacked there than he normally does. No longer with WWE. This is a Cesaro.
Cesaro.
Drew, after defending his title at Night of Champions. Boy, feels like a long time ago. Randy Orton commemorating laying out Hulk Hogan, the immortal one. That's a fun one. We've done our fair share talking about her tonight. Shotzi.
I mean, at least they gave her a tank back.
Sure. That's true.
Elias.
LOM Elias.
Ezekiel's big brother.
Yep.
And Bailey. Smark still misses the buddies.
I just want to see her fucking destroy him again.
That's fair. Me too.
There are 12 packs of 7 here, so that means there's 84 cards. We're going to open half of those. We're going to open 6 of them, so 42 cards. There's only 2 left in those 6. Ooh, there's already a card I'm excited to see. Montez Ford gave him a high five at a live show. Played patty cake not knowing I was playing patty cake. On television. Thanks, bud. Rey Mysterio. And that's the eye injury from Seth.
There we go.
Crap moment. Smarks will like this one. Candice LeRae.
Yeah, she wrestled tonight on Raw and did a pretty good job. My daughter looked up and saw her and said, "I like her. She's got purple hair."
This is a hollow, as you can see, of a guy who does not exist at now. Walter.
Still the better name.
Yes, it is. Goldberg. This is a fantastic snap of a photo of these cousins. Angel Garza hitting Humberto with a Spanish fly. And definitely the one person that is, if JLB says deserves better, all of us will agree. Shayna Baszler.
Yes, Baszler deserves better.
Although God, tell me about it.
I will say her current.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, current.
I can't wait for the turn.
Devil on Ronda Rousey's shoulder sort of thing. is fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for the turn. I cannot wait for the turn.
Yeah,
All
yep.
right.
Necro Eric definitely liked Candace back when she was in the world's cutest tag team. Um, we do have to not talk about a lot of her tag team partners on the indie days, but
Cesaro and Shinsuke.
Nice.
A guy that I personally think deserves better that everybody else isn't giving enough credit to. Santos Escobar
That's a fair
hey,
point.
hey, he's in the final of the World Cup.
FIFA thing.
versus
Thing.
Rick O'Shea.
You know who won't be
Aaliyah
in the finals of FIFA? Canada.
needs to go down and have a run back in NXT. Get her off
Yeah.
Raw.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest the problem is she hasn't even been used, right? And
That's why
so
she
they
needs
brought
to go back to NXT.
they brought her up and then don't use her at all. Might as well send her back down where she can be used.
Ooh. We forget about the mixed tag tournament, and I'd love to see that come back. There's Jay.
They could have Team
Oh,
Little
Jimmy
Big
and Naomi.
again.
What?
They could have Team Little Big again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Maybe
fun.
Alexa Bliss will be happy again.
Taker wins the Walk trophy in a gauntlet match. I don't remember that one. Choke Simon looks like AJ, maybe. I don't know. Randall Keith.
Yeah, very unfortunate news for him. He's going to be out for even a longer period of time than we thought. He got his back, two of his
Yeah.
backbones
Spinal
fused,
fusion.
and
Well, and here's the deal: is like there have been reports for the last like 6 months that his back injury was worse than people were letting on. It's only now
Right.
come out that, and the thing is, the reports are he has already had the surgery, but we don't know how long ago he had it. Right? The pictures came out this week of him having his surgery, but he could have had it a month or two ago. So we don't really know how long he's going to be out. But yeah, he's going to be out for at least a bit longer, recovering from that.
A storyline that was the downfall to this person's career. Hopefully, they'll get a rise again. We all hated this storyline. JLB didn't like the wrestler at the time, but still hated the storyline, and that is King Corbin eating dog food as he was chained to the ring. You didn't like Corbin. You still don't like Corbin. You're like, every time I say, oh, the dude should be a world title carrier, as great of a heel as he was.
You roll your eyes.
I mean, no, I think he's a fantastic worker. Like, he can play any role perfectly. He's great. I just don't see him as world title.
Holmes, even if it's transitional, that guy is so fucking hateable. Like,
He is. He does great heel work. I just don't see him. I see him as IC. I see him as US. I even see him as tag. Maybe do a thing with JBL, but I doubt Mr. MC Hammer Pants is ever going to do anything in the ring. But I don't see him as world. I don't know. I think he's great at what he does, but unfortunately, he's got that Sami
well, the
Zayn.
time to do it was while he was Constable Corbin. That was the time
Yes.
to do it.
Yeah.
And they could go back to that. That wouldn't be hard to do. So anyway.
Just to quickly get a Necro Eric is happy that Legado del Fantasma is all on the main roster together, sort of. But those little decisions that help WWE overall, and they have. I mean, those are the things that.
The key is after this pay-per-view, you need to start working in guys like Legado, like Santos Escobar, guys like Johnny Gargano into the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And it can't just be, well, I have, like, Johnny Gargano should roll almost immediately into a feud with Austin Theory.
Yeah. I'd be down with that.
I'd be down with it. He's going to feud with Miz. Right.
I'm aware.
If you watched Raw tonight, he's 100% going to feud with Miz. That was the thing on Raw tonight.
What happened?
Is the
I'm still
Dexter
here.
Loomis match. The Dexter Loomis match where Dexter.
Oh, that was
Dexter
today?
winning.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
that's right.
Dexter won?
And
I
Dexter
guess.
won. Miz tried
Nice.
to find some ways to weasel out of it, as always. And Adam Pearce met him on the ramp and grabbed because not only was he supposed to if he won the match, he was off scot free, but if he lost, he had to pay Dexter Loomis, and Dexter got a contract, right? So he was required to
Right.
bring a giant, ludicrous bag of money to the ring, and that also had the contract in it. And Adam Pearce came out and grabbed it and brought it to the ring for him, so he couldn't escape with it. Then the match happened. It was an okay match, whatever. But Dexter put him to sleep, as Dexter do, and
Then
won.
sat there and petted him.
Petted him for a bit, and then won and walked over. And Adam Pearce had the contract out, and he signed the contract. And then he grabbed the money and he started walking out and casually handed out bills from it to the kids along the walkway. Because it wasn't about the money for him, sort of a thing.
Right.
And then Miz tried to steal the money back, and then turned around and ate a super kick from Johnny Gargano. So
There you go. So yeah.
Sorry, I
definitely
typically watch Raw
Gargano.
on Tuesday evenings or Thursdays. I
yeah,
have time.
yeah. Triple H is presenting Dexter perfectly, and that's here's the
And
deal.
he did in NXT too.
Yeah, that's the deal. It's what you can tell now is that Triple H is in charge. The people from NXT are being presented more like they were in NXT. The things that worked in NXT are not being discarded, because that's what was always so frustrating with McMahon during his run there. Is the people would do something great in NXT. Everyone would love him in NXT. He'd call him up to the main roster and then fucking change everything. Right?
Right.
Oh, you're
A la Killer Cross, Karrion Cross.
yeah. Oh, you're an absolute, monster down there. You come out to this really cool ring entrance with smoke and strobe light and this song, and you come to the ring and you look like a badass. We're gonna give you a gladiator gear. We're gonna take away that ring entrance. We're not gonna bring your woman up with you, right? No, we're
What
just
makes
gonna,
your ring entrance work and the show of it work, the match work.
yeah.
'Cause her interference is fantastic.
We're gonna take it all away, and then give you a stupid fucking mask. And that's the deal. Is like, it was working in NXT. Just let it work on the main roster. And it's not just Karrion Kross. It's been almost every call up from NXT. We talked before about when they
Vince fucked up The Fiend, the best thing going in wrestling in 2019 and 20, early 20. He managed to fuck up at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. No, even more than that, right? You had NXT, you had this beautiful feud going on between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
And then you bring him up and make
And
him
then you bring them up in the middle of that feud and pair them up as
DIY
teammates on the main roster, and then
They're
fucking
still doing the feud on NXT.
still doing the feud in NXT. And so all of them. Yeah, Baszler. He messed up Baszler when he pulled. All of them. Every single one of them that he pulled up from NXT in the last 3 years.
He almost didn't mess up Baszler, and then he
And
chose
he did.
to mess up Baszler.
It's just, and so
By having her
now,
become a biter.
yeah.
A biter. Mm-hmm. That was it.
But now, Trips is saying, no, this is what worked in NXT. We showed that it could work in NXT. They spent years in NXT honing their craft, right? So let's just let them do that in NXT, that now on the main roster, Same thing they did down there. Do the same shit you did before, right? It's like the second 21 Jump Street movie. Just do the same shit you did before. That's all they needed to do.
And by the way, as far as sequels go, I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for 23 Jump Street Med School.
Just same. It's what Dumb and Dumber should have done.
Yeah, just do the same shit you did before. For the first couple I'm not a huge fan of the American Pie movies, but they at least understood for the first couple that the thing was just do the same shit again,
Yep.
right? Just do it again.
I would even argue that the second one was better than the first.
Control V,
You
Control
could.
C. Or, I'm sorry,
But
other way around. Control C,
yes,
Control V.
scratch that, reverse it. Anyways, let's get back to the ratings for the pay-per-view. We're on to the good stuff now.
Yeah.
The good
Let's do
stuff.
this.
Best moment of the night.
Sammy's tears.
I was gonna go with the J hug, but it's the same thing. You know.
Sammy, my son genuinely thought Sammy was crying.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy is an actor, and he's a very good actor.
Mm-hmm. Just
And
that
I mean,
whole
maybe he was
moment
crying.
that Sammy got up, he did the with Jimmy, and then turned around and there's Roman. Roman goes for the hug,
I also have to
then
give
turning
props
around.
to Roman's hugs every single time, just going, having a big smile, and then instant, like, randomly turning straight faced and just pissed off that he's
Well,
hugging
yeah,
somebody.
as soon as they can't see your face, you can start showing what you really think. So that's to me best moment of the night. There were other ones. I mean, the leg drop off the top of the
It was
cage
a really great moment, yeah.
was really great. There were
The
were
spear
moments.
during the Falcon Arrow.
Yep.
Yep. Then that's the only thing I didn't like about that was, and there's I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but the spear during the Falcon Arrow, and then like Bobby Lashley just kind of rolling away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was like a, hey, why wouldn't you try and break that up?
Yeah.
I mean,
do
did
something.
you hear the mat getting slapped?
Yeah. Unless like they almost should have planned it, like, I don't know, done something where he speared and then showed him like, oh, my shoulder or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I don't know. But that's kind of minor. It was
Yeah.
a really good one. I'm gonna get to Necro Eric's question in a little bit because I want to get through the best before we actually answer that.
Yeah,
Because
I
I think
agree.
that'll be a different debate there. JLB, did you have a best moment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna go with Becky's leg drop off the top. I was not expecting Becky to do anything crazy, especially for her first match back. Her going to War Games, obviously that being announced, okay, cool. But her doing something like that probably would be my best moment. And then, of course, I would have to also mention the Sammy hug, Jey Uso, and the crying and all that. That was just amazing storytelling to a T. And I can't wait to see how Sammy ends up screwing them over.
I would
since,
say-
that is the expected rumor.
Prior to the Sammy stuff, though, my favorite moment was Nikki Cross climbing on top of the cage. Doesn't she know she needs to get into the cage? And it would have worked if they had just had her attack somebody once. It only had to be once, and then everybody calms her down. Mm-hmm. Just
Yeah.
have her be a loose cannon one time.
Breakout star of the night. Sammy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those tough. He's already a star, but I think this is the one that kind of made him.
Yeah, I don't think any of the seldom scenes did anything spectacular that made me think, oh, wow. Sure as hell wasn't Shotzi.
Jesus. I mean, I blame Ronda more than Shotzi in their match.
I don't
but-
disagree,
Fine.
but Ronda's an overbooked star as it is.
But in the
know,
end,
you're
Ronda
shitting on
didn't make
Shotzi,
Shotzi look like a star, so
Yeah.
No.
she's
Ronda's
not the breakout
fault.
star. It doesn't faults don't matter on this. It's still
That's fair. Yeah.
but okay.
Yeah, I probably though probably would agree, Sammy. Yeah.
I
Eric,
see, and I hate the fucking finger break. I
Yeah,
fucking hate it.
I knew that was coming.
Joint manipulation.
Mia Yim
Fucking
also
hate
did
it.
well.
I would
it's
say
gonna
that Superman dive between both sets of ropes for me and Yim 2 times was fucking fantastic.
yeah. Um,
Who did the
yeah,
dive?
Mia
Oh, it was
Yim.
Sammy?
Me and
Or
Yim.
Mia Yim.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mia Yim through the ropes, through both of them.
Oh, snap.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say definitely there's an opinion on it. If you're someone who's never seen Pete Dunne, Butch before, and then you see those,
Boot.
it could be impressive, and he could be the breakout star. We've just seen a lot of him. I also want to say Pete Dunne has never been as cool as when he was Peter Dune. I loved that time. Peter Dune. It's Pete Dunne. Anyways, best line of the night. It's got to be something with Sami Zayn, right? I didn't talk to Kevin. Kevin just talked to me. I didn't tell Jay because I didn't want to distract him from his match, and that one
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, I guess so.
I like I said in the last one, I'm probably going to get rid of the best line just because on these pay-per-views they've kind of evolved to where we don't have a lot of lines on them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Maybe like best segment if they randomly
seg-
do have segments.
segment might, but we'll do best performance of the night. We'll just keep going on this. Sami Zayn, beginning to end, best performance. I mean, Becky Lynch did phenomenal for what she did.
I mean, I would
do
have
wanna
to say
say-
Sammy and KO.
Sammy and KO,
together.
yeah, that was a good one.
I'm going to throw again a wrench at it, and I'm going to say Finn Balor selling his leg injury.
How will he deliver the stomp with the leg injury?
He'll miss it 17 times. That's how he'll do
That's
it.
how he'll try and miss and try and miss. I will say I don't know if she's best performance tonight, but I do want to point out that Becky Lynch looked good, right? She looked better than she has in a long time. When she first came back after the baby, she was scary thin to me, right? And I don't like to talk about appearances and all this stuff. Body shaming is not my thing. But like it was like she went from being a muscular, girl to being really, really almost Jessamine Duke thin at times. And she's, I think this time back rehabbing her shoulder has allowed her to get back a little healthy weight. And so
I'll throw one more curveball at you, and that is Asuka's meme and gift game afterward.
Asuka's
That's not
meme
during the
game
night.
has been
It's
phenomenal.
so good.
I just love. I saved it to my phone. The baka 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 moment. I retweeted out with nobody's ready for baka. Okay, to go with our overhype of the night, what was the underhype of the night? What was the match that wasn't talked about that over delivered?
This is AJ and
That's what I was gonna say.
Right.
AJ and Finn, right? Like I went into this going,
fucking
And, like I
schmoz. One of these guys is going to get involved, and this is going to be
yeah,
involved.
this is gonna be a thing.
Right.
And
They're leaving now. Now this is when Rhea's going to come out and fucking save the
something's
match.
gonna happen. Nope.
Yeah. Oh, there's going to be another member of the OC. Nope. Nope, it was just a fucking fire 20-minute match.
And like I said,
Yeah.
I think when predicting it, I thought that Finn Balor was going to bring back something like the demon gimmick, and so I predicted him to win. So AJ winning was unpredictable for me, which also made it a little bit more fun. Yeah,
Put that
Eric
one up,
agrees.
not a bad
Got to
move.
be AJ and Finn. Pissing on a forearm, right? that's kind of turned into his finishing move, even though it's
It's better.
really, yeah,
The Styles Clash.
it's
It's
really the
really
Styles
supposed to be the
Clash,
Styles Clash.
but he hits it. It's his
Well, it's his
RKO
signature.
out of nowhere. It's his RKO out of
A
nowhere,
signature.
right? He hits that move. He can hit it on almost anyone. You know.
They both attempted each other's signature moves, which was really cool. AJ actually
Right.
hit the Sling Blade signature style Sling Blade. He did not try to do the coup de grace. Obviously, Finn tried to do the Styles
Styles
Clash
Clash.
and did not succeed at all.
Nope.
I enjoyed that match a lot. That if there wasn't such exceptional War Games matches, that's my match of the night.
I don't know, man. I think you need to put some respect on the Theory
Dude,
Lashley
I
and Rollins.
just said the reason I called the men's War Games match an underhype is because the other 4 out of the other 5 matches, or 3 out of the other 4 matches,
That's fair. Yeah,
were
no, you're
up
right. You
there
did say
that
that's
high. So I'm not dissing that one.
Just making sure. Just making sure you put some respect on it. That's all. But you're right. You weren't dissing it necessarily.
Fuck.
I'm
Baka
sorry.
baka 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 baka.
Baka. OMG moment of the night.
JLB just fucking tried to call me out for no fucking reason. That's what the OMG movement is.
I'm gonna go with Io's moonsault though off the top, just for the simple fact that she never looked back. She legit never looked back, and I guess she never does. But I, for some reason, had forgotten when she did that back in NXT, and I'm like, oh my god, you're not even looking back. What are you doing? So much trust within her wrestlers, and it was freaking
I think she also
awesome.
trusts her ability to adjust in air if she has to.
Well, yeah, when you're doing a moonsault like that, if there's no one there to catch you, you can continue
Land
the
on your feet
rotation and
and
try to
roll
land
through.
on your feet. But
Just look like you're injured.
That's fair.
But
fair.
Becky's leg drop probably.
Becky's leg drop is definitely up there.
Yeah.
Could be the spear.
I would say
Spears-
the spear during the Falcon Arrow might be the OMG moment of the night. Or a nomination for it is Sami Zayn stopping the count.
Yeah.
That
Oh my
was
God.
awesome.
And he just stares at the ref. The ref's like, I can't move my arm.
Can't move
Like,
my arm.
if you let my arm go, it'll be the third.
Yes, but and just like I don't know. There's the whole ludicrousness of the fact that like that actually can stop the count. You know, like he can't just use his other hand to hit or something, right?
The only thing that would have been better is if Sami Zayn would have laid down in front of the hand, and so the hand hits the Sami Zayn, so it doesn't count. Because
That
it
would've
can't
been
actually hit the mat.
or did
That
that,
would have been
like
so Sammy.
did that like dive with his hands out like this to catch the hand.
Splash. No, it wasn't a third one. You didn't hit the mat. You
You
didn't
didn't
hit the mat.
It doesn't count. But and the fact that there was like the camera angle was so well done. WWE, you know, I'm an AEW mark. We've said it before. We'll talk about it. Whatever. I'm an
You'll
AEW
say it
mark
all the
just as a
time
whole.
again.
But there's one thing that WWE definitely has over AEW, and that's camera work. Not necessarily like the camera movements and stuff, but they've got positioning of cameras down
Yes.
like pat, and so they knew the camera people knew that this spot was going to happen, right? And they had a camera person perfectly. I think when Sami Zayn went in there and stopped, there was a camera person that was so perfect. You could see Sami Zayn stopping this rip, and then you could see the ref in the other ring look over and go,
Yeah.
and
So,
just like so perfectly
we-
framed.
We give Kevin Dunn some hell for the fucking jumping back and forth and everything. That said, Kevin Dunn can make a fucking Roman Reigns 3-minute rest hold feel like it's high action
Well-
because of the amount of jumping around that he does.
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly do with less jumping around, definitely. But camera angles are the other side.
Well, and
And
because there's so many camera angles, that's why he can do those other
yeah,
things.
and just the fact that the cameramen in WWE know their positioning so well, and there's got to be communication, where they know certain spots in a match are gonna happen, and everything, and some of that's just familiarity. Like when you've shot 1,000 Finn Balor matches, you kind of know where to be for certain moments in Finn Balor's matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's fair. Yeah.
he's going towards one of the ring, the top ropes. I better be in this position because he's gonna do the coup de grace. And whether he hits it or not, this is where I have to be to get the best view of that. Or so on and so forth, right? But that stop in the count was so perfectly framed.
Yeah, it really was.
The spear was also well framed because you didn't see Bobby Lashley coming, right?
No, it seemed as though he came from behind the cameraman into the
Yeah.
ring and did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was
Like
really well done.
you were watching that and you were like, Rollins is gonna win. He's gonna hit this Falcon Arrow, and then he's gonna pin and 1, 2. What just happened? It was a car crash. So we'll move on to best move. Now, not quite the same as OMG, because this is a little more nebulous because it can be an actual move in the ring, or it can be like a strategic move, right? I would argue best move was probably putting the Women's War Games match first. And that's not because it wasn't the best match or anything. It might actually be arguably one of the best matches. The fact that we started off with this fire match, War Games match, worked really well.
Yeah, I think. Well, heck, I mean, with that said, based on how everything went down, I think maybe it being the final match of the night might have made it. It was still a great pay-per-view regardless, but I think ending it with this would have still just made maybe a little bit more of a better pay-per-view. The other matches were pretty fire aside from Ronda there, but
you don't have the Sami Zayn payoff earlier in the show. That's a last minute thing. That's got to be the end of the show there. The Bloodline standing tall, Sami Zayn now officially accepted by all of the members. Gets the hug from Jay.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
That's got to be the final there. In fact, if anything, they lingered a little bit too long after that on them kind of standing around in the ring. But we will move. Final category.
Wait, that was best move. I didn't get a
Oh,
best
you didn't
move.
get the best move? I thought you did. Go for it.
I don't fucking know. I'm just saying I didn't get one.
Okay, well then you don't know, then you don't
Hold
get
on,
one.
hold on. I'm thinking. Hold on. That doesn't help. That's fucking intense music right there. I'm gonna give best move to Mia Yim. Superman
Okay.
dive through the ropes 2 times.
Twice. Okay. And then final category, match of the night. This is where I think we're gonna fight a little bit. I think there will be disagreements.
I will say the best storytelling match of the night was the men's War Games match. I will say the most entertaining match of the night was the women's War Games match.
Out all kinds though. Best match of the night. Don't give me this subcategory bull banana.
I'm gonna give you.
Give me your best match. Give me your best match. No subcategories.
The best storytelling match.
Gun
of
to
the
head.
night.
Best match.
The most entertaining match was the women's War Games match, and the best wrestled match was Finn Balor versus AJ Styles.
I'm not gonna subcategory. Best match of the night, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor.
Wow. I guess I gotta rewatch that match again. I mean, I thought it was an okay match. Like, it wasn't... I really had low expectations on it, and I thought I was like, oh, okay, this is not too shabby. But
my favorite match, though, is the women's War Games match. It was the one that I put at the top.
If I were ranking down, it would be AJ versus Finn, number 1, women's War Game, number 2. And then like Austin Theory and Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley kind of tied with the men's war games. They were pretty close to each other.
And that one was also a long-term storytelling.
Yeah. And then Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler clear at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like they're
Clear at the bottom.
I mean, if you're giving grades, you have A plus, A plus, AA, D.
so we're gonna get to Eric's.
But what was yours?
Eric's
What was
thing.
yours, JLB? Real quick before we get to Eric's.
The ranking.
Yeah.
What
Best
was your
match of
third
the night.
So
What was your
yeah,
best
women's
match
war. For me personally, women's war games, and then I have Seth, Bobby, Theory, and then I have AJ.
and then the men's
AJ
war
and Finn, and then the men's, and then obviously.
So it sounds like our second place finish, with the exception of you, Smarks, who has what we both have first. You have that third, the women's war games.
No, women's was second for me.
Women's was
So
Women's
I
was
have
first
women's
for me.
war games, men's war games, AJ and Finn, Seth, Bobby. And
Yeah,
one other guy.
We just have 2 and 3 really tossed between each other.
Yeah.
Eric
Well, yeah.
throws out that his was the women's war game. He thought Finn and AJ needed more minutes, and I'll agree. It did feel.
I would maybe agree with
It
that.
felt
we were
fast,
talking-
but it was the third longest match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was the only matches that went longer.
talking about
were
war
the war
game
games
matches.
matches, right?
And really, the matches themselves may not have gone longer. Just the introductions that take 5 minutes per person. Mm-hmm. Literally 5 minutes per person to get them all into the ring.
So he thought that the best move was the obligatory KO teasing package pile driver from the Kevin Steen days, then taking the back body drop every War Games. It's a good OMG moment. He really liked Io Shirai, or Io Sky, as she's called now, because he likes to see the Joshi stars being shown off. Got to be AJ and Finn moment for him, although he didn't like AJ winning with the people's with the forearm, because it was basically the people's elbow. So his question that we kind of skipped earlier, because I wanted to get to towards the end, because I wanted to finish talking about Survivor Series first. This is going to be where I think there will be some debate. Did you guys think Survivor Series was better than Full Gear? I know Survivor Series is fresher in the mind, but I think I really enjoyed the length and quality of WWE overall. So where do we stand on this? I think
I'm gonna
I don't think
mention
there's a fight.
we called Full Gear the third best, potentially the worst of the AEW pay-per-views this year. Survivor Series is second or first best of the year, maybe third for WWE.
Yeah, I'd agree with
They
that.
do a lot more. That said, if it beat AEW, it is by an inkling. I am saying it did beat AEW's Full Gear by a hair. And I am talking a hair. Like, it's the valedictorian, salutatorian difference in grades in school, at a large school. One's a 3.99, one's a 3.992.
Right.
And had one other credit or didn't take a study hall one year. That's the difference for me.
I personally, like, we've talked before on the podcast. I'm a fan of longer pay-per-views. I don't want them to be 8 hours long, like WrestleMania was getting to at one point. You know what I mean? But I'm a big believer that your pay-per-views need to be longer than your main shows, right?
This is 3.5, so it was a little bit longer.
It was a little bit longer.
and was all wrestling.
Yeah, and it was a lot of wrestling, right? AEW's was longer, and some people they don't like that. Some people that's a little bit too much. But for me, the length of the AEW pay-per-view, the overall match breakdown, the fact that they had a really good mix of matches at the AEW pay-per-view, I think put the edge over this. And I got to be honest, I think the Ronda Rousey match on this might have
Great.
been the nail in the coffin for this one too.
I think had they had Santos Escobar versus Ricochet at this fucking pay-per-view, I think it's hands down better than Full Gear.
It's like we can't do match by match breakdown because there was 10 matches on the main card of
Right.
AEW, right?
Well, you got to put
Yeah,
three
and that's why
AEW
I think
matches
AEW
against
wins.
against one of the
Yeah. But like the
worst
the
games.
the MJF defeating John Moxley, uh, you
It was
know,
great.
great great moment, great blow off to a long feud. Was really great. Jamie Hayter winning versus Tony Storm. Um, I really liked it. Sting, Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal might have been one of the low points of the night, and it's got my favorite wrestler of all time in it. Samoa
Those are
Joe,
your
Jeff
most hated
Jarrett,
wrestlers.
Smark's favorite of all time.
hate
Yeah.
him, hate him. Samoa Joe
Nope,
defeating
that's not what you
Wardlow and
said.
Powerhouse Hobbs. Was a match that I did not expect to go the way it went.
And I
And
marked out like a motherfucker for that.
um,
That was
Sor-
your match of the night, I believe. No,
Yes,
Fate?
I think so.
Soraya
No, I
versus
think MJF Moxley was, but that would have been close.
Soraya defeating Britt Baker. We expected that to happen, but it was a good first match back for Soraya.
That might have been my Rondi match.
Well, but that's my point. It was probably the lowest, but again, here we had 3 different women's matches on here, right? And they were all singles matches. Right. Whereas on the WWE pay per view, you had 2 women's matches, but one of them was a War Games match. Cram a lot of women in that way, and so on top of it, at the AEW pay per view, I'm going to point out we had the World Championship, the Tag Championship, the Women's World Championship, the
Right.
TNT Championship, the Ring of Honor World Championship, the TBS Championship, the 6-man Championship, Trios Championship. We had all of these titles on, which to me makes it feel bigger. You know what I mean? And
Right.
for the WWE Survivor Series, there was one title on the line, not 2, I guess. Women's SmackDown title and the United States title. But like DFA mentioned, they didn't have the Intercontinental
Tag.
title on there. They didn't
I
have the
see, the
tag
world.
titles on there. They didn't have the women's tag. They didn't have the Raw women's because she was in the War Games match, but that meant that there wasn't. You didn't have the world titles, the undisputed Universal Championship, because he was in the men's War Games match. And so without those being on the line, that just made it feel a little bit less to me, like pomp and circumstance wise. That might play into it a bit. But
You always got to bring up Randy Savage. I don't understand.
pomp and circumstance, Randy Savage. The cream of the crop. Eric said that the AEW pay-per-view is longer, but it felt like none of the matches got real time besides the Elite and the main event. I get that, but then you start looking at the time breakdown. The Chris Jericho match went 21 minutes long.
And that was a fun
trios
fucking match.
Yeah, trios match went 18 and a half minutes. The Jungle Boy match went 18 and a half minutes. The Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory went 19 and a half minutes. In fact, the only matches at Survivor Series that would have beat most of the matches at Full Gear were
War
the
Games.
War Games matches, and then the Finn Balor one, which went surprisingly longer than we thought it went. But it went 18 and a half, but short. So the matches that went longer than that were Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus and Death Triangle for the Trios tag team. And the Chris Jericho match went longer. And the Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory went longer. And MJF versus John Moxley went longer. And so it's, most of the matches on the AEW pay per view actually went longer than the matches on WWE. But again, I'm just a big fan. If I'm gonna, especially with AEW, and maybe this plays into it with AEW, if I'm dropping fucking $50 on a pay per view, I want to feel like I got my money's worth. Now, fortunately, with WWE, I didn't drop $50 on Survivor Series because it's part of Peacock, and so as long as you got the subscription, you can watch it. And so maybe if AEW eventually gets a streaming deal and starts streaming with a subscription, maybe I'll be a little bit cooler with shorter pay per views at that point. But for me, I want it to be an event, right? And I guess I remember when pay per views were like a party you would throw for your friends. You'd invite all your
Yeah.
friends over, and like you'd have 16 people in a room all marking out over a pay per view.
I would have been for our WrestleMania as we used to do that. Yeah, that was good times.
I remember doing it for
Even
every
Rumble.
WCW pay per view from like '96 to '99. Like,
Damn,
friends getting
okay.
together, just like, yeah, let's watch the pay per view. We order pizza and get some brewskis. And,
I feel like that's exactly how you sounded like.
yeah, it was like pizza and brewskis, man. Raw.
Oh, good times.
I just made a fucking mess. Soda
Yes, you did.
doesn't pour like brewskis. It fizzes more. Anyways, um, but that's I guess me. I mean, I guess the other two people on this podcast, one of them at least felt that WWE edged out Full Gear. JOB, I don't know. I can't remember if you had given your answer. Which one?
Yeah, no, Full Gear wins.
Full Gear.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
it's a bunch of things. Even if you want to say 5 matches, even if you gave me the, first 5 matches of Full Gear, okay, to be fair with it, first 5 matches of Full Gear, I still think Full Gear would beat.
Well, let's put that to the next. Full Gear, Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus.
Thought that match was fire. I would say that might even be comparable to AJ and Finn.
Trios, Death Triangle versus Elite.
Better than the men's war games.
Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose.
Better than Ronda Rousey and thing.
Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara.
Better than Bobby Lashley, Seth, and Theory.
Saraya versus Dr. Britt Baker.
All you got left to go up against is the women's war games, but
Yeah, well,
That might be
obviously
the
we'll
only one that loses out,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
sort of thing. But then you got Samoa Joe versus Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs, right? If
Which
you went,
I would
if you
argue
went the last
maybe
5,
even beats the triple, triple threat for the U.S.
let's take the last 5. Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Sting
Yeah,
and Darby
that
Allin
would be
versus
the
Jeff Jarrett
threat.
and Jay Lethal.
That was fun. I mean, I guess that beats the Ronda match, sure. Well, no, we
Hey-
have another women's match coming out, though. It's not
Hayter
fair.
versus Tony Storm.
Jamie, yeah, well, that definitely beats the Ronda
Acclaimed
match.
versus Swerve in Our Glory.
That, I would say, was probably better than the men's war games.
MJF versus John Moxley.
Okay, that's not as good as the women's war games, but that was fun.
Again. So it almost doesn't matter which 5 matches you choose out of this.
Yeah,
It wins
one, usually
4-1.
1, 4-1, yeah.
But that's kind of where I fall on things too. I'm like,
Wrong.
wrong. Nope, you're wrong.
Wrong. Nope. Didn't happen.
Why does Necro mention Pretty Stacked Weekend? Oh Jesus, okay. Because he's doing his indies. Okay.
Yeah.
4 shows in IWTV Action Wrestling. Wow.
Homeboy,
Man,
you watch some indie stuff, man. I don't know where you get the time. Shit, there's 20 hours of prime television every week.
Yeah, Jesus, just on the regular stuff. I mean, unless he just looks at the highlights for the AE dubs and WWE, he just spends his time with the indies.
Man,
Could be
you
too.
are a pro at this. But if you got a Twitch stream, tell us what it is, man. We might have to follow you on that.
Damn. Yeah, that's or I mean, maybe he just highlights them all and then he just watches.
I don't really watch Rampage unless nothing else is on.
Which totally fucked me up. Rampage was at like 4:00 Eastern.
Yeah.
Last Friday.
I was able to watch it while at work. Don't tell my boss.
Hi, are you Smarks' boss? Yeah. Remember that 1 hour he was not being so productive? Not a lot of emails. I was watching Rampage.
Remember that
Don't
1
blame
hour he
me,
wasn't
bro.
being very productive? Which one?
Which one?
He's not wrong. Not wrong. I will also point out, however, that they thought I was watching the Husker game, so that's the
Hey,
real reason.
that was a
I don't
win.
want them to think
That was a win.
it was a win. It was the same time, so I just didn't want them to think that I was cheating on the Huskers. I mean, I was, but
You were.
I didn't want them to think that.
Wow. Homeboy, you are watching some wrestling. My kid would not let me turn off YouTube that long.
Damn. This guy's gonna set up
Dad.
3-4 TVs. Just
Boom! Wall of Pro Wrestling.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
plus UFC. Jesus. I have a headache just thinking of all that stuff we'll watch.
Marks, this motherfucker's gonna give you some lessons.
Yeah, no, I've got the TV up here so I can live stream reactions if I need to. I've got a TV downstairs that I prefer to watch on because this one's like a 40-inch, and the one downstairs is a 65-inch 4K. So I'd prefer to watch on that. But if I'm watching down there, I can't really live stream reaction. So, and I also have a 4-year-old around me all the time. So sometimes I
fair.
escape up to here.
That little girl is a daddy's girl.
She is. She has me wrapped around her finger, which is why I need to escape sometimes.
No, I want candy. You got it, girl.
Yeah,
Anyway.
damn fucking straight.
So,
But yeah.
not the worst pay-per-view of the year so far. Not the best pay-per-view
Nope.
of the year so
Not
far.
Well, I mean, it's the last
Not-
pay-per-view of the year, so
Not even WWE's best pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah. Last pay per view, if you don't count Ring of Honor Final Battle next week. Next week? Yeah.
Oh, I meant WWE's last pay-per-view.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, you're saying this is maybe top 3 of WWE's best pay-per-views?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think Rumble and WrestleMania are the only ones that hold up to it. SummerSlam had potential, but there was still too much Vince involved.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Eric brings up there is
That-
an NXT
that's gonna
one.
be fucking fire. I am so excited to see that new match.
It is.
Oh, that's fair.
NXT Deadline.
That is 1 week from
that
this
is true.
Saturday.
Yeah, December 10th.
It is 12 days away.
This is true. I am curious to see who's in the deadline, the Survivor Iron Survivor match.
Also, the same day as AEW is doing Ring of Honor Final Battle. I say AEW is doing Ring of Honor is doing Final Battle that day. And so it's going to be interesting to see because we don't have a time for Ring of Honors yet.
I
Yeah, it's
we-
4. No? Isn't
Do
it
we
in the
have one?
afternoon?
I'm just looking here.
Swear I
And,
thought it was 4. Hold on.
well,
I
if you can find it,
having in the past been an NXT mark, I will struggle to not watch the ROH Final Battle. But I know that somebody has to watch NXT, and it will probably be me of the three of us. And so I will, because I want to see that new match. But quite frankly, Vince ruined NXT with NXT 2.0, and it's going to take a little while for Sean to bring it back to where Trips had it.
okay, yeah. So 3 p.m. Central, so 4 p.m. your time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then NXT deadline is going to be. Have they announced the time yet for it either?
Probably going to be 8, 7, 8 there.
It says a special start time
Oh, shit.
of
Well, they legit going to go back to back.
4
huh?
p.m. Eastern. They are going head to head.
Oh, my God.
NXT is going head to head with Ring of Honor Final Battle.
Bastards.
That's
That's what I was gonna say. Is I didn't have a
key
exact
is
time for it.
what
but-
they don't what WWE, and that's a Nick Khan move. I feel like that might be a Trips move, but what they don't realize is that people who have the network versus a pay-per-view are going to watch the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Because you could just go watch the network at any point.
Now, people who don't want to spend money are going to come to NXT.
Right.
For us, we have a podcast, so I will have to watch NXT to give rundowns on it.
Well, I'm probably going to watch both
Yes, we do.
anyway.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see
it's
the
on
match.
Sunday, so yeah, we have a
Saturday.
little time. That's what I'm saying. Our show is on Sunday.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting there. I'm going to wish I was like Eric and had a bunch of TVs and
That would be cool to have two TVs to have them both running simultaneous.
Well, in hopefully between 3 to 6 months, I will be moving my whole studio to a house, and that would be really fucking fire to just get a
Wrestling
wall
room.
of TVs in my wrestling room, in my podcast wrestling room. I could just be sitting here and have boom, 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 boom. Like, I can't do that here because I actually have a window right there, so I can't mount anything to the wall there. That's neither here.
I could do that in my tiny little studio. I could do 432 inches in here. But my attention span would not allow me to watch 4 at a time.
We may have to turn to Necro Eric as our indie reporter. Live on the scene.
I'd love to have this guy talk to this guy more about joining the podcast. I really would.
It's a possibility.
He's up there with our Facebook guy that wouldn't have been able to speak English with us.
Fernando.
I knew there was something in the air that night, and the stars were bright. Fernando.
Well, I tell you what, Smarks is about to tell you all of our contacts, and you can hit him up direct, and we will talk to you about joining up with us.
Yes. You can definitely follow us on all the social medias, and all of that stuff. We're gonna put them all up on the screen here in just a moment. Bear with me a bit because I'm working on how to do this here. Okay.
You could just do word art on a Microsoft spreadsheet and just pop that into the fourth window.
Boom. You can follow me on all the social medias at Raw and Order WBU, like it's going to say in a little bit down here when it comes back up again. Wait for it. Here. Oh. There we go. At Raw and Order WBU. Links are going to be in the doobly-doos on the Twitch page. All of that stuff, you can find them there. You can follow D.A. Fabe at...
D.A. Vincent K. Fabe. Right there.
And
On Twitter only, because that's the only place I am.
And then you can follow JLB at.
You can follow me at twitch.tv/JLBTLC25, where I play video games, wrestling video games, waiting for that AEW Fight Forever. Probably only going to be next year. So until then, we're playing some Modern Warfare 2 and whatnot. Yeah, probably going to be doing a bunch of other stuff there. Just probably reviews on movies and games themselves and whatnot over on the Twitch. And then Real Talk Radio is the brand where I will do more recorded stuff released there. Links will be down below in the doobly-doos.
Okay. Go back to this, where we're all on screen. You can also support us in all sorts of ways, including heading to our merch store. Links are in the doobly-doos. We actually have 2 merch stores because we're in the process of transitioning. We like one, but we also like another one, so we're doing both of them. Links in the doobly-doos today. You can get sweet stuff like the Those Who Can't Wrestle podcast shirt, or you can see right behind DA Fabe there, that green shirt up there. That's one of my prized possessions. I have one behind me here. You can't really see. That is a autograph shirt. If you're going to an indie show, you can buy that shirt. It's blank. It's just got lines for people to autograph on. Wrestlers loved signing it. It signs nice. They get to personalize it. It's way better than signing on just the regular fabric of a shirt. It doesn't stretch and all that stuff. And it becomes a personalized possession that you can wear and display for it. And so DFA and I both got those signed at Zello Pro Show we went to nearby a year ago now.
They don't really. Yeah, it's been just over a year ago. They don't. Wrestling doesn't really come to where both of us are from in Nebraska, except for the big ones, which come to Omaha and Lincoln. Unfortunately, they never have meet and greet tickets for sale for those big ones in this small area. So.
Yeah. And so, but the meet and greets for the indies when they do come here, get one of these shirts. So you can get them in all sorts of colors, and then have them signed in whatever way you want and displayed and wear. It's a great way to do it. But there's all sorts of other stuff you can buy at our merch stores. Links are in the doobly-doos. You can also support us with bits on Twitch. You can support us with subscriptions. If you are a Amazon Prime member, you get 1 free subscription a month, and we'd be honored if you'd throw that free subscription our way. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us out a ton.
It does indeed.
But there's all sorts of things you can do to support us. But liking, sharing, and subscribing is the easiest, and it's the free one. So if you enjoy this, had a lot of fun, share it with your friends, let them know to come back. We do it normally twice a week, usually Sunday nights and Tuesday nights. This week, with the holidays and everything, was a little hectic and everything, so we delayed the Sunday night one to Monday night. So we will be back tomorrow night with our fantasy booking show, where we challenge each other to book crazy things in the world of fantasy. I've got a game for the guys to play tomorrow that I think will be all sorts of fun.
Boy, so do I. And in fact, I'm going to give you a little clue. Think about Moxley's promo on Wednesday.
Okay?
Okay?
Okay.
Because I'm even going to give you a preview. I'm going to be challenging you to put particular children's television show lines with a wrestler. I'll choose the wrestler, and you have to give a children's television show like Run away as far as you can and never come back.
Well, I mean,
Scar
clearly
line.
that's Bray Wyatt.
No, that was a Scar line used by Moxley to William Regal.
No, I know, fair enough. But I mean, I'd put it for Bray as well.
But I'm going to give you the wrestler, and you have to come up with the line, or I'm going to give you the line, and you have to come up with the wrestler. You don't know which one.
That's fair. All right, that's fair.
I will give you a hint on the game that I'm going to play tomorrow. FMK.
Oh, I'm so turned on.
All right.
It's not even funny. Oh, fuck.
No.
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Necro Eric, if you don't know what that's from, it's from a show that all of us enjoy deeply, called Letterkenny.
But anyways, on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank everyone for listening. We will see you soon.
Peace out, rabbit.
Deuces.